All right, let's get rolling.
Oh my
What a dick. He
Friday. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be watching this show. Welcome to the Airborne Sea Life podcast. My name is Yusuf Rashid, as usual, joined by my lovely hosts, Manuel and Brendan. And
I'm one of those.
He is one of those. Happy Good Friday to you all. Or, if you're us, happy Good Fred Durst Day to you all. That's totally sacrilegious. We're going to get in trouble. But we have Fred Durst news. Why do we have
a lot of Fred Durst news?
Why do we have a lot of Fred Durst news?
Yeah, it's not one piece of Fred Durst news, it's two pieces of Fred Durst news, and this is not the way the world is supposed to be working.
But if you're going to want to hear all the Fred Durst news, you're going to have to watch both the podcasts that have it, because only one episode, one piece of cool news, and then we have another one.
I immediately, after saying that we were recording 2 episodes today, forgot that we were recording 2 episodes today.
Why else do you think there's 2 pieces of Fred Durst news, you silly goose?
Anyway.
Brendan, I got excited.
Well, you should be, but here's the thing. It's kind of like a Pokemon. If they want to get all the Fred Durst news, they're going to have to watch all the episodes that it's spread across.
I feel like we've said his name too many times now, where he's going to appear. He's going to appear, like, kick my door down, like, friggin' Beetlejuice.
First off, Beetlejuice doesn't kick a door down.
I know he doesn't. I know he rises from the floor, but it's Fred Durst, and Fred Durst can do whatever he wants.
I suppose he can.
It's like 10:40 in the morning. We're tired. Anyway, all right, Brendan. What is this on this holy Good Friday? What is the Fred Durst news?
Oh boy, where to begin? I'm going to let you decide through random chance with a selection of the number 1 or the number 2. And then whatever number you pick is going to be the news that we select for the episode.
I'm picking 2.
Number 2, the news that I have for you in this episode reads as follows. Fred Durst to launch a podcast about UFO conspiracies. With the subtext of this should be interesting.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. There's no brief explanation. There's just this should be interesting.
I mean, it's a fairly accurate thing to say.
Yeah, like they know.
So y'all remember?
Hold on a sec. Actually, before we get into this, I want you all to appreciate if you go to that metal injection page. There is under the picture, which is amazing, by the way. There is just a like an audio bar that says "Play Fred."
Amazon Music Unlimited ad.
Play Fred. Don't we all need to play Fred?
Can we talk about how this is going to be hosted on Bill Maher's studio, but also Billy Corgan has a podcast as well?
Well, let's read and give the people at home some context here. According to the Middle Injection article, TV host and comedian and writer Bill Maher has launched Club Random Studios, named after his own podcast. Club Random started in 2022. 2 additions to the newly minted Club Random Studios are Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan and his Club Random podcast, as well as Limp Bizkit vocalist Fred Durst, who will host a show about UFOs and conspiracy theories. Because we needed this today.
There we go. One
truly,
request.
we didn't have enough conspiracy theory shows on the internet. We needed a couple more.
But I have one request and one request only. Fred Durst, if for whatever reason you are listening to this, God forbid that you are, please have Tom DeLonge of Blink-182 on your show. You know, the man that literally left one of the greatest punk rock trios in history to go apparently work with the US government and chase aliens.
That is the most punk rock thing I can think to do with my time, to be completely frank with you. Like,
I don't know if working on the government to chase or working with the government to chase aliens is all that punk. I mean,
but
like,
hold on.
that seems like the opposite of punk to me.
Hold
but you
Hear
have to
me
think
out.
about the context. Think about like being like an FBI or like a CIA agent. You're like looking into like the discovery of aliens, and Tom DeLonge of Blink 182 is working with you, where you're just like trying to explain something, and he's just like, "Don't waste my time on me." Like, how not hilarious? That's hysterical.
Because there's a couple of ways this can go. I'm going to stand on the punk rock hill, because when you think about it, is this really the best use of the government's time to like go hunting down aliens?
At this point, no.
No, so it's very much punk rock because, like, well, there's things they're trying to do, like policy changes and like making things work the way it should. He's using government resources in alien hunts, which
but that actively makes my life worse. I don't like. That's not very punk.
He's taking down the establishment. That's very punk.
I don't know if we're on the same page on this one.
I'm just saying,
anyway.
It's a brilliant waste of time, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Can we can I just make mention of something in the article that I feel like truly is a quote of all time? Not of the greatest, just a quote of all time, like 100%. From Fred Durst. I hate to be a preacher, but it's super important you do not believe all this bullshit they're feeding us. Said Durst, as noted by Loudwire. Everyone's feeding us all this fear-mongering bullshit, and it's up to us to seek the truth. It's going to happen soon. There's going to be a revolution. You better believe it. Oh my fucking God. He's trying to redo Woodstock 99.
Oh no.
That would be like the plot twist of all time.
That would be, wouldn't it? Is that like he actually comes out and admits that he is responsible for what happened at Woodstock 99 and then just goes, yeah, we're doing it again.
Yeah, just like, I regret nothing. We're doing it again.
We're doing it again.
What if it's secretly an ad for Woodstock 2099? Like, wouldn't that be crazy?
I'll be honest, if Fred Durst somehow manages to get on stage in 2099 and still looks like he did
it. Don't be an idiot. It would be Futurama head in a jar.
I would see the shit out of it.
Oh yeah,
it would be like that episode
head in a jar, Fred Durst, then yeah.
No. It's going to be like that episode where it's with Beck, right? And like they're going to just take the head of the jar, put it on a mannequin, and just move the mannequin on stage with like a hand truck. And they're going to have him moshing on stage by pushing the mannequin back and forth.
Honestly, oh gosh. Okay.
Okay. I'm still on this. If you scroll down to the next article, there's an article about like the Rex Brown on the Pantera tribute, or on the Pantera not reunion. And if you scroll
the reunion, but not a reunion.
Yeah. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter because if you scroll underneath that, there's still a bar that just says "Play Fred."
Actually, you know what? If we scroll down a little further, there's another one I kind of wanted to talk about today that I had found on Facebook. This really hit hard. One of the original guitarists from Despised Icon's house burnt down.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, Yannick Saint-Amand had his house and a lot of his stuff just completely destroyed fairly recently. And there's like a GoFundMe page going on. I wasn't sure if it was like a real one or not, but it seems to be like everywhere now. So like it could be worth throwing a link to that somewhere in this episode of the podcast if we're talking about it.
That I could do, but man, that sucks.
I mean, it doesn't sound like anyone was hurt. I have, last week, our beloved Yannick Saint-Amand, his wife and 4 children, suffered a great tragedy, losing their entire house and all their belongings in a devastating fire. It doesn't say that anyone was actually hurt in said fire, only that his means of making a livelihood was hurt. So, it's always good to walk away from something like that with with your life intact. I think that's the important thing. You can live to record another day.
Mm-hmm.
I regret. Oh, sorry, you were saying.
Oh no, go ahead.
No. Yes, of course, we want to help out. It does suck losing your home like that. Like, oh man, like in a fire and losing all your valuables and whatnot. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail the conversation there, but I made a grave mistake. We're spending a little too much time on Fred Durst, but
Says
we've
you.
never done that before.
I know, right? I made a mistake of clicking a hyperlink on that article in regards to Biscuit going on tour this summer, and the cover photo is just Fred dressed like a member of the Offspring with a Jackson Rhodes in his hand.
Okay.
Anyway,
I knew the Fred Durst news was a mistake because now this is going to be all he thinks about today.
Oh God.
Does he even play? Yeah, there it is.
There,
I didn't think he played the guitar.
I didn't
think Fred Durst was a musician.
Look, to end this part of the episode, Fred Durst is truly a musician of all time.
Yeah, he is.
That being said, let's actually get on to some musical genius. Manuel, what are we doing?
Okay, so today we are going over Digital Veil by The Human Abstract as a bit of a follow-up to our interview that we did last week.
Which, by the
Silva.
way, shout out Hank. Thank you again so much, buddy, for coming on the show. We had a great time. We hope you had a great time, and we'll see you down the road.
We're gonna be best friends forever now. That's how it's gonna be.
Best friends forever. Yeah. Anyway,
so yeah, I had a really hard time picking a song from this album because the whole thing is just crazy start to finish.
It's a wild record.
I asked this a lot, but I have my own personal way of describing this band. But how if someone asked you to describe The Human Abstract, what would you say?
Crunchy math, but as airwaves.
All right.
I was gonna say like crunchy electrical math.
Yeah. The answer I usually give is it's like if Stravinsky and Beethoven had a baby and that baby was metalcore, was deathcore.
Yeah. You can definitely hear that.
It's like good deathcore, like really good deathcore.
Yeah. I don't even know where to. Manuel, where do you want to start with this?
I mean, so this song is really just interesting to me because it's all just musically. It's just walking up and down a diminished scale for 3 minutes, which I think is just really cool. It's a good example of how you can just pick a weird scale and go for a long time and people won't notice that you haven't changed anything.
Yeah.
But it's got some what moments stood out to you all?
I can go. There's something we talk about this with previous episodes about breakdowns. That's one thing I think like a common theme we always have in each episode is the stuff we listen to. If there's a noticeable breakdown in there, how do we describe that breakdown, and how do we no pun intended, how do we break down that breakdown?
This breakdown's way weird, especially the drums.
Yeah, so I'm looking more at the moment at just around I believe it's the 1 minute mark. It's not really a breakdown necessarily, but it's during the verse where the guitars, the bass, and the kick have that syncopated don't, and I love
the other guitar is doing these weird little walking patterns over top of it.
Right. That, oh my god, what
really
what
like it is a really satisfying section of the song.
It is, yeah.
I mean, shout out to our buddy Gorblaster, because every time I hear this section, I think of him.
Yep.
Yeah, he did that. He does that like every song. Anyway,
but I hear like it's only like 10 seconds of that, or like 15 seconds in that verse. But just hearing what like the bass underneath and like what's going on, that don't, it always reminds me that like we talk about guys that like those that came before what we know is like the modern gent era of like animals and periphery and shit. And like this is the kind of thing where I want, if we ever get the chance to one day, I want to talk about the song Make Total Destroy by Periphery off P2.
Oh yeah,
because this is what that reminds me of, or I guess
I mean,
vice
this
versa.
is when did P1 come out?
2000 and
2010.
yeah, so P2 would have been
So
after Digital Veil came out, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, this would have been right around the time when that early gent stuff was first
Yeah,
getting.
when that was starting to become like a kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, before thumping really became like big in the like technique world. It
Yeah.
was just a whole lot of palm muting, just don't.
But I love that section. It's all, I have the book over there somewhere. It's like 5/16, 7/16,
Oh god.
12/16. It's that kind of, but again, it's all the same diminished scale.
Mhm.
And he's basically playing a bunch of different dominant chords and diminished chords over top of this really weird pattern in the bass. Uh, which is a super gent idea, but in like a deathcore context.
Right. I
You
think
know what?
like sorry, I just want to make this one quick point. My apologies, Brendan.
Please.
I was gonna say this. What I do love is that you have, it's just that whole like thumping with the diminished runs over it, and then just a good old couple of hits, and then thrash beat.
And then thrash beat, and it's still just diminished chords
Yeah.
walking up in minor thirds. I love it. That thrash beat's so much fun though.
Yeah. There's a lot of oh yeah, it is fun. It too, like think about it. What band am I thinking of that the diminished run reminds me of? Because I was thinking, because we were talking about deathcore, but I wasn't thinking deathcore necessarily, more death metal. Black Dahlia Murder. That's what I'm thinking of. There's a like
Yeah.
those diminished runs in there really remind me of a lot of stuff off of Nocturnal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Black Dahlia does this kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah. Brendan?
So, of course, since we did a couple of songs, I took my notes, and I'm a smart man, and I did all the things to keep organized. So, there's a couple of parts of the song I particularly enjoyed. According to my notes from last night, I described the song from beginning to end. The song is like a consistent wave of complexity, a relentless punch in the face. I think that stands pretty well for what we have here. One of the parts of the song that really stuck out to me was like this repeated gallop. And I don't know, I just like a good gallop. Like maybe it's just the Iron Maiden fan in me.
Where is the gallop that you're thinking?
Put an example here. There is a gallop about 2 minutes in, and it's layered behind some really, really clean sweep picking. And it's like, oh, it was so good. I really enjoyed this particular part.
The Stravinsky section.
Because it was very heavy in the beginning of the song and a little bit more towards the end of the song. And I just enjoyed how, for me, the song sounded very consistent, but no section of the song is quite as identical as another portion of the song. Like it's just something where you can't really get used to the song. By the time you really get invested,
like a lack of symmetry.
But the thing is that's really cool is it manages to do that very kind of disconnected, every section is its own thing without making it feel episodic, by which I mean like it doesn't feel like 4 different songs that have been kind of squished together. It feels like a song made out of 4 completely different things.
Mm.
Like,
and I think the fact that he's using just that one scale, I think AJ Minette wrote all the riffs, but that they're using just the one scale the entire time really helps kind of glue it together.
Like, I think the best visual I can describe my sensation with it is like if you've ever played Tetris it's always going to fit that cubicle space, but every game is going to be different in how you stack the blocks. Every component is always going to be differently oriented and organized, but it's always going to fit the same space. And it's a really cool trick to completely different segments of a song, but it could always sound like they belong together in the same organized chaos.
Yeah, totally. Organized chaos is actually a really good just word in general for this song.
It's just
you know what I'm talking about, Yusuf, the Stravinsky section.
Yeah.
The part where it's like syncopated sweep picking with chugs underneath it.
Sometimes,
chugs might be a better word.
The chugs are definitely better to use in this situation, but
it's just like a 3 against 4, like a classic Hemiola pattern. But it's so strange sounding because of the way the drums are layered underneath it.
Well, yeah, because you have that like almost bleed-esque kind of pattern that's going on down there. Like with the herders going on in the feet. I don't know why I'm doing this, but
happy hand dance.
This is how you play kick drum.
This is how that's actually the technique.
Every good metal show has a guy underneath the drum kit you don't see.
Yeah.
Just doing
the secrets have been revealed anyway. But you have like, I love it because just like the palm muted chugging, you know, the herdas underneath, and then just randomly like this whole Stravinsky clarinet bullshit. Like I can just picture like a in an orchestra, just like some Stravinsky piece where the upper woodwinds have to do the most ridiculous high register runs, versus and then they're like, oh, why do we have to do this? And the bassoonist just somewhere down the road goes, are you kidding me? I have to do this. God, that's pain. But like, I get what you mean with the Stravinsky thing, because like, it's hilarious to me sometimes. It's really cool how many metal bands have been so inspired by composers like Stravinsky.
And just like exist without that.
Oh no, Prague absolutely would not exist without Stravinsky. And it's a testament to how creative musicians are able to be with ideas of orchestration, and just be like, okay, well, what if we did this with this, and we try these things here. Like, yeah, this man, I gotta say,
I don't usually say this, but this is one of the very few metal songs that I would actually like to see an orchestral arrangement of, because I think it would be really interesting.
Would make the argument that really good metal and really good classical are only really separated between distortion and drop tuning, man. Like, it's not so distanced apart, because if you really apply the theories of one, you will eventually arrive to the other.
Yeah, I mean, they're two very different musical traditions, but
the theory is the translatable sort of middle ground.
That's my point.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, they're clearly different, but they're only, of course. It's like degrees of Kevin Bacon. Eventually, like, you can have someone completely different, but eventually you're going to get back to Kevin Bacon.
Why Kevin Bacon?
Because, wait, do you not know what a Bacon number is?
No.
Everyone knows that everyone has a Bacon number. For example, I think my specific Bacon number, is about 2. If my scale is correct, I worked with a guy when I worked at a summer camp who happened to know someone who worked alongside Kevin Bacon in a movie. So I think that would make my Bacon number 3.
So is this just like the degrees of separation someone is from Kevin Bacon?
Correct.
I wonder what mine is. Okay. Well, anyway,
you better go find out, because everyone should know their Bacon number.
Yeah, exactly. after we finish recording this episode, I will. Going back to talking about like different, like they're very different styles and like ideas in music, but similar in the sense that like when you really look at the nitty gritty of the theory behind, not even the nitty gritty, just the simplicity of the theory behind it, everything starts to make sense. And the same way it goes with most of the stuff we've been listening to on the podcast. I mean, Manuel, you listen to like all the shit Thank You Scientist does.
Yeah.
And like that's just jazz theory in a nutshell.
It's jazz fusion, but with like heavy guitars. And even like jazz fusion has that kind of sound in it.
Oh yeah.
But the only main difference is that classical people don't understand what rhythm is, but that's a complaint for another time.
What? No, they.
Oh boy!
Okay. No.
I can't comment.
I have to talk about
this.
We're
not.
Did anyone else just hear the sound of a grenade pin hitting the floor?
No. A grenade didn't. Okay, hold on. A grenade didn't open. We just opened up a dam.
Every couple of years, some very well-meaning master's student or PhD student in the classical world will write a very earnest paper talking about some rhythmic concept like it's some kind of advanced rocket science, and then immediately every jazz and rock musician in the audience will be like, hey, we've been doing this for like 50 years.
I'm not touching this.
So yeah, classical people can't count. But anyway,
that'll be a bonus exclusive that we might do one day. Because Manuel and I get very heated about this conversation, but again, that's another thing for another day.
I'm just going to be in that conversation unrelated with a popcorn bucket.
On an unrelated note, I found out that my bacon number is 4.
There you go.
All right.
There we go. Anyway, where were we?
You're going to have to clarify on that.
We got way off track. You know what? Actually, I do really want to talk about with this song is the ending, because I have never heard another band do a bit crush out of a song. And it sounds so good, and I need more bands to do this.
It's so cool because there's also the fade as it bit crushes out, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? Like, it's such a cool effect, but a lot of bands, not a lot of bands, most bands don't do that. I kind of wish more bands did.
Uh-huh.
Like, especially like the heavier it gets, like you just bit crush the shit out of it.
Yeah. And it also, like, starts changing the pitch of things when you do that. It's just like everything goes all mushy and crunchy and weird at the end. And it really fits because this song lyrically is about basically social media and how much it sucks, which it like, it kind of comes across as Old Man Yells at Cloud, but this came out in 2011.
Yeah.
And here we are, 12 years later, 13 years later, and we're like, yeah, you know what? You had a point.
So it's more Old Man Yells at Cloud or more predictive?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is a very good, I mean, the digital veil, it's, we spend all of our time plugged into these machines, and, like one of the lyrics in this song is unplug me from this fantasy.
Yeah, that's
you had a point.
Yeah, and this was 13 years ago.
The video at least was uploaded 13 years ago.
Yeah,
it's a Simpsons moment, man.
Yeah, here's a quote from AJ Minette. This song is one of 2 experimental tracks on the record composed exclusively using the octatonic scale. For those who don't know, that's the diminished scale. I wanted to get away from my tendencies in terms of harmony melody to focus on rhythm, meter, tone, and color, which absolutely this song is all about. The lyrics are addressing our increasing dependency on technology and how it has begun to interfere with our face-to-face social interaction. Behind the digital veil, we can be anybody we want to be. I think, like, if we're judging music on a scale of how close did you get to what you were trying to get to, this is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
not every song can claim that. No.
This is like this. According to this statement, this is exactly what he was trying to write, and he managed it perfectly.
Yeah. It's also like when you think about it, like I like to think about the way I hear music and think about it like visually, like as a like a representation almost in my mind. And there's moments throughout this, like especially with that Stravinsky bullshit at the end. About like what exactly does it represent? Like it just feels like you're staring at a computer. There's no real escape. You're just sort of trapped there now. And as the guitars come in with a doo doo, right, with all the little fun little runs there, It's like everything's transcended into the technological world, and that's just the sound of a loading screen.
Yeah.
No.
I highly recommend to any musicians who like this kind of stuff. This song is not too long or too complicated that it can't be kind of picked apart very in a couple of days. I spent some time learning the whole thing. It's really a great lesson in how to do some really fun stuff, both with a guitar and just compositionally. Just spend some time picking it apart, figuring out how to put together. You'll learn a lot. I guarantee you.
Would we say the song compositionally is almost like, considering how old it is and what they would have remembered at the time, probably like the transcribing or the scoring of a modem loading into the net, perhaps?
Could be. I don't know how programmatic Minette is with his writing. Like, I don't know how much he thinks about I'm trying to imitate this sound or that sound, but
Yep.
that loops section really does
It's a dial-up tone.
it doesn't not remind me of a dial-up tone.
Yeah, it feels like a dial-up tone. There's a lot of moments in here where, like, sonically,
A little
it,
nod to the
you know,
audience, a little bit.
yeah,
Maybe. I could obviously be wrong, but I don't think it's a far fetched interpretation given the context of what we're looking at here.
no, of course not. So, no, I don't know. It's an interesting song. It really is. And like, yeah, to any musicians that are into the stuff, even if you're not, do yourselves a favor. Check this stuff out.
Heck,
'Cause-
even if you're a classical musician, like pull this apart. A, you'll learn how to do the Stravinsky thing a little better, and B, you might learn how rhythm works sometimes.
Or maybe find that
said
it
it.
exists in the first place,
I said it.
apparently.
He said it, not me. That's for a
Oh,
later
boy.
conversation. No, but you know what? Genuinely, like, I know people will always tell like other musicians, "Oh, you should be checking out like jazz. You should check out like this stuff." Yeah, if you want to learn about like the crazy in-depth details of like breaking down harmonic structure, sure. But if you want to break down like compositional structure and things like that too, stuff like this is great.
This is so much also like on a harmonic level. It's the octonic scale. It's that 8-tone half whole diminished scale that every metal guy loves to use, but they basically pull every single standard harmonic structure you can out of that scale and stick them together in every way that you can do it. So you've got sections where it's minor chords moving in thirds. You've got sections where it's major chords moving in thirds. You've got sections where it's diminished chords moving in thirds. It's great. It's cool. Study this. It'll teach you a lot.
To anyone that has ever told us there's no theory in metal music, go listen to it and analyze it, and then you'll find out there's all the theory you ever need. Because then you're going to learn from it. It's all practical. That's like, it's all practical, right? Like, yes, Brandon.
Oh, my apologies. I would say that, to your point, it would almost be worth throwing down that it's not even just that they'll learn a lot. They'll see all of these expressed ideas and theories in a way where it's almost like they're throwing it down in an arts and crafts table and showing the listener exactly how far you can go with all of these concepts in every way imaginable.
Absolutely.
And the best part is that it's not very long and it's not really very complicated. So it really just kind of lays all those arts and crafts materials in front of you and is like, here's all the different ways you can combine this set of things in a nice, neat little package.
We can maybe wrap this up with this. If there's anything else you want to talk about, Brendan, then we can get to that. I do want to say this, though, on this topic. If there's, so far as we've been doing this podcast, there's 2 songs, I think, in particular that for non-metal musicians or for classical musicians that want to like analyze more of the stuff and, gain ideas and like really understand the nitty-gritty. This is a really good song to look at. And I think one of my favorites we've ever done is friggin' All We Knew and Never Loved. Yep. That compositionally, that thing is a masterpiece. That is a masterpiece. Even the Nail of a Scar stuff. Like, classical musicians are obviously more inclined to the whole film scoring, video game scoring thing. At least currently, right now, is kind of the meta, if you will, for composers. But all we knew and ever loved, man. You know what? Like, I was re-listening to it in the car a few days ago, and like that, like Digital Veil, when you start to really hone in on the little, like every moving part that's going on in that song, There's so much more to it when you like if you start to like sit down and analyze it. But yeah, Digital Veil, a great song, great album. Like, oh man,
Yeah,
I
100%.
I
The
forgot
rest
how
of it
good
is
the Human
much
Abstract is.
more. Yeah, most of the rest of it is much more Beethoven
Mhm.
like inspired. But still super super cool.
Oh yeah,
Good
absolutely.
theory piece.
Very very good theory piece. On that note, do we have any closing thoughts? Are we?
No, I think you're
Anything else we want to talk
succinct
about?
into it. Pretty
Are
good.
we good? Are we good to go? We're good to go then. But yeah, Digital Veil by the Human Abstract from the record Digital Veil, released in 2011. Again, shout out to now friend of the show, Hank Selva, for having come on last week and we talk a little bit about the Human Abstract and whatnot. He's playing, he is on this record. Thank you, Hank. We love you, buddy. On that note, as usual, with the Airborne Sea Life podcast, you can find us on YouTube at Airborne Sea Life. You can find us on our Instagram page at Airborne Sea Life and TikTok as well. We post content up there on a not so regular basis, but eventually regular basis. We're getting there. We're working on it. We're working on it. We're working on it.
Figuring it out. And if you want to talk to
doing
us,
the thing. If you happen to know people that are good at this social media thing, let us know. There's that too. We're always looking for help.
And if you want to come on and talk to us, go to airbornesealife@gmail.com. Email us directly. We want to talk to you. Talk to us about your metal
Let's
band.
chat. If you
Especially if you're a local band, if you're local to New Jersey or Toronto, we'd love to have you on the show. And
hell, even New York. Throw in a New York area
New York,
there.
a good middle ground, yeah. But yeah,
Philly if you must.
Florida death metal band to get in there.
Oh, I could actually. You know what? Never mind. But yeah.
Anyway,
that being said, we are the Airborne Sea Life podcast, and we will see you soon. Goodbye.